Welcome back to our channel where we uncover the most valuable and rare coins that could be hiding in your pocket change. Today we're diving into the world of wheat pennies, those iconic Lincoln pennies minted between 1909 and 1958. Stick around to learn about the top 5 ultra-rare wheat pennies that are worth a fortune and their fascinating history. 1946 wheat penny. Before we dive into the specifics of the 1946 wheat penny, let's take a quick look at the history of the Lincoln wheat penny series. The series began in 1909, celebrating the 100th anniversary of Abraham Lincoln's birth. This penny was the first U.S. coin to feature a real person, and its design remained largely unchanged until 1958, when the wheat reverse was replaced by the Lincoln Memorial. The designer behind this iconic coin was Victor David Brenner, and his initials VDB are famous for appearing on the rare 1909 SVDB penny. The 1946 Lincoln wheat penny looks much like other pennies in this series, but there are a few things you'll want to note. On the obverse or front side, you have the familiar profile of President Lincoln with the words "In God We Trust" arched along the top, liberty on the left, and the minting year 1946 on the right. Flip it over to the reverse and you'll see the 2 wheat stalks on either side. This simple yet striking design gives the coin its nickname, the wheat penny. Above the wheat ears, the words United States of America and E Pluribus Unum are inscribed. Now, in 1946, pennies were made of 95% copper and 5% zinc after the brief switch to steel cents during World War II in 1943. By this time, copper was once again available for minting coins, which is why the 1946 penny returned to this composition. There were 3 mints that produced Lincoln wheat pennies in 1946: Philadelphia Mint, no mint mark; Denver Mint, marked by a D; and the San Francisco Mint, marked by an SS. The Philadelphia Mint produced the most coins by far, with 991 million pennies minted. Denver followed with 315 million, and San Francisco with 198 million. While none of these mints produced particularly rare coins in 1946, pennies from the San Francisco Mint marked with an S are often more desirable among collectors because of their lower mintage. As always, the value of your coin depends heavily on its condition, which we'll get into next. Like all coins, the value of a 1946 wheat penny is greatly influenced by its condition or grade. Coin grading ranges from poor, where most details are worn and faded, to mint state, where the coin looks almost brand new, as if it just left the mint. A circulated 1946 penny one that's been in use can be worth anywhere from 3 to 10 cents. A higher grade uncirculated penny in mint condition can fetch up to $5 or even $10, especially if it has no visible scratches. Or the best way to know what your penny might be worth is by checking with a coin grading service like PCGS or NGC, or consulting the latest market prices. Some thing collectors always look for are errors or varieties. While the 1946 wheat penny doesn't have any well-known major errors, always be on the lookout for things like off-center strikes, doubled dies, or any other unusual marks. If you do happen to find an error on your 1946 penny, its value could increase significantly, sometimes into the hundreds or even thousands of dollars, depending on the rarity and severity of the error. So, why should you care about the 1946 Lincoln wheat penny? Well, while it's not the rarest penny out there, it's an important part of U.S. history made during the post-World War II era. It marks the return of copper to U.S. coins and serves as a wonderful representation of mid-century American currency. 1945 wheat penny. Let's first take a step back in time and look at the history behind the 1945 Lincoln wheat penny. This coin was minted during the final stages of World War II, a time when the United States was transitioning from wartime production back to a peacetime economy. The Lincoln wheat penny was first introduced in 1909 to celebrate the 100th anniversary of Abraham Lincoln's birth. The reverse design, featuring 2 wheat stalks, remained on the coin until 1958, making it one of the longest-running designs in U.S. coin history. The 1945 Lincoln wheat penny was minted in 3 locations: Philadelphia, no mint mark; Denver, D mint mark; San Francisco, S mint mark. Over 1 billion of these coins were produced, with Philadelphia producing the highest number. Because of its high mintage, many 1945 pennies are still in circulation today. However, this doesn't mean they're all worth the same. The value of the 1945 Lincoln wheat penny depends on a few important factors: condition, mint mark, and any errors or variations. Let's go over these in detail. As with most coins, condition is everything when determining value. A circulated 1945 Lincoln penny one that has been in pockets, registers, and hands for decades might only be worth its face value, about 1 to 5 cents. However, if your coin is in mint state, meaning it's been well preserved and has little to no wear, its value can be significantly higher. Coins are graded on a scale from 1 to 70, with 70 being a flawless, uncirculated coin. A 1945 Lincoln wheat penny in good condition may not hold much value, but one in mint state could be worth $5 to $10 or more, depending on the grade. The second key factor is the mint mark. As I mentioned earlier, the 1945 penny was minted in Philadelphia, Denver, and San Francisco. You can find the mint mark on the reverse side of the coin just below the date. No mint mark Philadelphia, most common, lower value. D mint mark Denver, a bit more collectible, slightly higher value. S mint mark San Francisco usually holds a premium over the others, especially in higher grades. Error coins are always interesting, and the 1945 penny has a few varieties that collectors actively search for. These errors can dramatically increase the coin's value. Double die. Some 1945 pennies feature a double die error, where the design appears to be slightly doubled. These can fetch prices anywhere from $50 to $100 depending on the visibility of the error. Off-center strike. A penny that was struck off-center at the mint can also increase the coin's value. These error coins can range from $10 to $50 or more depending on the severity of the misstrike. 1952 wheat penny. Now, the 1952 Lincoln wheat penny was struck during the final years of the wheat penny series, which ran until 1958. This coin is a snapshot of post-war America, minted during a time when the economy was booming and the penny was an essential part of everyday transactions. So what makes the 1952 wheat penny stand out? Well, while it's not considered rare like some other wheat pennies, it's still a collector's favorite. Millions of these coins were minted, but the value can vary significantly depending on a few key factors: mint mark, condition, and errors. The 1952 wheat penny was minted in 3 locations: Philadelphia Mint, no mint mark; Denver Mint, D mint mark; San Francisco Mint, S mint mark. Philadelphia produced over 186 million pennies in 1952, while Denver minted over 746 million, and San Francisco minted just over 137 million. Coins from San Francisco are generally a little scarcer, making them slightly more valuable to collectors. Now, the big question: how much is a 1952 Lincoln wheat penny worth today? The value of your penny will depend largely on its condition or grade. Here's a rough breakdown. Circulated coins. If your 1952 penny has been in circulation and shows signs of wear, it's probably worth between 3 to 10 cents. Not too exciting, right? But don't go away just yet. Uncirculated coins. If you've got a penny that's in uncirculated or near mint condition, the value can jump significantly. Uncirculated 1952 pennies are typically worth between $1 and $5, with higher-end examples fetching up to $10 or more, especially if they're certified by a grading service like PCGS or NGC. Proof coins. Proof pennies from 1952 were struck with extra care and have a shiny, reflective surface. These can be worth between $50 and $100 depending on their condition. Error coins, and here's where things get interesting. Error coins like those with a misstrike, double die, or off-center strikes can be worth a lot more. Some error pennies from 1952 have sold for over $100 or even $200. If you're checking your collection, here's what to look for. First, check the mint mark under the date on the obverse side of the penny. No mint mark means it was made in Philadelphia, while a D or S signifies Denver or San Francisco. Next, examine the condition of the coin. The key grading factors include luster. Is the coin shiny, or has it lost its original sheen? Details. Are Lincoln's features sharp, or are they worn down? Look at his cheekbone, jawline, and the wheat stalks on the reverse. Surface marks. Are there any scratches, dings, or corrosion? The fewer, the better. A certified grading service like PCGS or NGC can give your coin an official grade, which could significantly boost its value. Here's a fun fact before we wrap up. The Lincoln wheat penny design was the first U.S. coin to feature a real historical figure instead of Lady Liberty or an allegorical figure. It was a bold move at the time, but it's now a tradition we see on nearly all our coins today. 1935 wheat penny. Now, 1935 was a pivotal year for the United States. The country was still recovering from the Great Depression, and the penny played a crucial role in everyday transactions. Small but essential, the penny represented the American spirit of perseverance during tough economic times. Let's talk specifics. The 1935 Lincoln wheat penny was struck in 3 locations: Philadelphia, Denver, and San Francisco. Here's a quick breakdown of the mintages. Philadelphia, no mint mark, 245,388,000 coins produced. Denver, D mint mark, 47 million coins produced. San Francisco, S mint mark, 38,702,000 coins produced. These pennies were made from 95% copper and 5% tin and zinc, weighing in at 3.1 grams. The obverse side features Lincoln's iconic portrait, while the reverse showcases the 2 wheat stalks, which gave the penny its name. Now, here's where things get interesting for collectors. The 1935 Lincoln wheat penny has several known errors and varieties that can significantly increase its value. Some of these errors include double die obverse DDO, where the design on the front is doubled. Die cracks on the coin caused by worn out dies. Off-center strikes. The coin was struck improperly, leaving a portion of the design off the edge. These errors make certain pennies much more valuable than their regular counterparts. So if you've got a 1935 penny lying around, take a close look. You might have a rare error coin. All right, so how much is a 1935 Lincoln wheat penny worth today? The value depends on several factors, including condition, mint mark, and whether the coin has any errors. Average circulated condition G4 to VG8 worth around 5 to 10 cents. Fine condition F12 to VF20 worth 20 cents to $1. Extremely fine EF4 worth around $2 to $5. Uncirculated MS60 to MS65, these can fetch anywhere from $10 to $30 depending on the mint mark. Rare errors or high-grade MS66 or higher, these can sell for $100 or more at auctions. Coins from the San Francisco Mint with the S Mint mark are typically a bit more valuable than those from Philadelphia or Denver due to their lower mintage numbers. And if you have a pristine, uncirculated penny, you're in luck because the value skyrockets. 1955 wheat penny. Before we dive into the 1955 version, let's quickly cover the basics of the Lincoln wheat penny itself. First minted in 1909 to celebrate the 100th anniversary of President Abraham Lincoln's birth, this coin was designed by Victor David Brenner. It featured Lincoln's profile on the obverse and the iconic wheat ears on the reverse. It remained in circulation until 1958, after which it was replaced by the Lincoln Memorial design. So what happened in 1955 that makes this coin so special? Well, in that year, a major minting error occurred at the Philadelphia Mint. Due to a misalignment during the striking process, roughly 40,000 coins were accidentally produced with what is now famously known as the 1955 double die. The error happened when the coin's design was struck twice on the die but slightly misaligned, creating a very obvious and dramatic doubling effect. How can you tell if you have one of these rare error coins? The most distinctive feature is the doubling of the date 1955. In the words "Liberty and in God we trust," the doubling is so prominent that even without magnification, it's easy to spot. If you think you might have one, check those areas carefully. So what's the big deal about this coin? Well, it's all about supply and demand. Only around 24,000 of these coins actually made it into circulation. And over the years, many have been lost, making it one of the most desired error coins for collectors. Prices for the 1955 double die can range anywhere from $1,000 to $1,500 for well-worn examples, while those in higher grades can fetch up to $15,000 or even more at auction. In 2022, a mint state example graded MS65 red sold for a whopping $48,875. Now, a quick word of caution, not every 1955 penny is the valuable double die variety. There are many regular 1955 pennies out there that don't have the error and are worth far less, typically just a few cents. Also, be careful of machine doubling or damage that might look like the double die but is much less valuable. The 1957 penny, which we're focusing on today, is from the last few years of wheat penny production. By 1959, the U.S. Mint replaced the wheat stalk design with the Lincoln Memorial on the reverse. Now let's talk about mint marks. For 1957, there are two major varieties: the 1957 without a mint mark, which was struck at the Philadelphia Mint, and the 1957D, struck at the Denver Mint. The mint mark is easy to spot. It's located right below the date on the obverse side of the coin. If your 1957 penny doesn't have a D, it was minted in Philadelphia. But if you see a small D, that means it was produced in Denver. In terms of production, there were over 282 million 1957 pennies minted in Philadelphia and a staggering 1.05 billion minted in Denver. This was a high mintage year, which means the 1957 Lincoln wheat penny is quite common, especially in circulated condition. Now, let's get to what you're all waiting for. How much is your 1957 Lincoln wheat penny worth? The value of this coin depends heavily on its condition or grade. Here's a breakdown: circulated condition G4 VF20. Most 1957 pennies found in circulation are worth between 3 to 10 cents. Because they were minted in such high numbers, there's not much premium unless you have an uncirculated or high-grade examples in uncirculated condition, where the penny shows no signs of wear. Values can range from $1 coins and exceptional. High-end grades like MS67 or higher can be worth anywhere from $20 to $50 or more, especially if certified by professional grading services like PCGS or NGC. The highest recorded auction price for a 1957 D penny in MS67 red grade was $2,640. While this is extremely rare, it's a good reminder that finding a high-grade penny can be very rewarding. While 1957 wheat pennies are common, there are some error coins that can increase their value significantly. Some of the key errors to look for include double die obverse DDO, check for doubling on Lincoln's face, the date, or the word Liberty. A good double die penny can be worth anywhere from $50 to $200 or more, depending on the severity of the doubling. Off-center strike, if your coin was struck off-center, that's another valuable error. Depending on how much of the design is off-center, these can fetch $10 to $50. Repunched mint marks RPM. Look for multiple impressions of the D mint mark on 1957 D pennies. Repunched mint marks can sell for $10 to $100 depending on the clarity and severity of the error. Whether you're new to coin collecting or a seasoned collector, here are some tips to help you find the best value in your 1957 wheat pennies. Look for uncirculated coins. Since 1957 wheat pennies are common, prioritize finding uncirculated examples in high grades. These are more valuable and harder to come by. Check for errors. Always examine your pennies closely under magnification for any potential errors like double dies or repunched mint marks. Get your coins graded. If you believe you have a high-grade penny or a valuable error, it might be worth sending it to a professional grading service like PCGS or NGC for authentication. 1945 wheat penny. 1945 was an important year for the United States. The country was emerging from the horrors of World War II, and the U.S. Mint was churning out coins as part of the nation's recovery efforts. The 1945 penny was an everyday part of people's lives, used to buy bread, milk, and other essentials in a world that was quickly changing. The design of the 1945 Lincoln wheat penny is the same classic design created by Victor David Brenner, with Lincoln's profile on the obverse. On the reverse side, you'll find the famous wheat stalks, symbolizing abundance and growth, a fitting symbol for the time. Now, the 1945 Lincoln wheat penny was minted in large quantities at 3 different mints: Philadelphia no mint mark, Denver D mint mark, San Francisco S mint mark, Philadelphia mint 1,040,515,000 minted, Denver mint 266,268,000 minted, San Francisco mint 181,770,000 minted. As you can see, over 1 billion pennies were produced in 1945 at the Philadelphia Mint alone, making it one of the most common wheat pennies. However, the Denver and San Francisco Mint pennies are slightly scarcer, particularly in higher grades, material composition, and metal shortages. One of the interesting things about the 1945 Lincoln wheat penny is its material composition. Like most pennies before and after, it was made of 95% copper and 5% tin and zinc. During World War II, however, copper was needed for the war effort, which is why 1943 pennies were made from steel. By 1945, the U.S. had returned to using copper for pennies. The return to copper signaled that America was beginning to recover from the material shortages of the war. So, holding a 1945 penny is like holding a small piece of history from that era. When it comes to coin collecting, the condition or grade of a coin is one of the most important factors that determine its value. Coins are graded on a scale from poor P1 to mint state MS70, with uncirculated coins being the most valuable. For example, a heavily circulated 1945 penny might only be worth its face value, while an uncirculated, well-preserved penny can fetch $5 to $10, sometimes more. The key is to look at the coin's luster, the sharpness of the details, and the amount of wear. So how much is a 1945 Lincoln wheat penny worth today? Let's break it down. A Philadelphia minted penny in average circulated condition is usually worth about 3 to 10 cents. In uncirculated condition, it can go for $1 to $5. A Denver minted 1945 penny in circulated condition is worth 5 to 15 cents, and uncirculated examples can reach $5 to $10 or more. The San Francisco minted 1945 penny, being slightly less common, might be valued at 10 to 20 cents in circulated condition and $5 to $15 in uncirculated condition. 1947 wheat penny. The 1947 Lincoln wheat penny comes from the post-World War II era, when coin production returned to normal after the war. These coins were struck in large numbers, making them a common find in collections today. Now, let's talk about the different versions of the 1947 penny. There are 3 main varieties based on where the penny was minted. The 1947 penny without a mint mark was struck at the Philadelphia Mint. The ones with a D or an S were minted in Denver and San Francisco, respectively. If your 1947 penny doesn't have a mint mark, it was minted in Philadelphia. If you see a D, it's from Denver, and an S means it was minted in San Francisco. The U.S. Mint produced a significant number of 1947 wheat pennies. Here's a quick look at the mintage figures. 1947 Philadelphia, 190,555,000. 1947 D Denver, 194,750,000. 1947 S San Francisco, 99 million. With over 484 million pennies minted in 1947 across all mints, it's safe to say this coin is relatively common, especially in circulated condition. Now let's talk about the metal composition. Like other pennies of the era, the 1947 wheat penny is made up of 95% copper and 5% zinc. Given its high copper content, its melt value is worth more than 1 cent, though it's illegal to melt down U.S. coins for their metal content. Now let's get to the most important part, the value of the 1947 Lincoln wheat penny. As with most coins, the value depends largely on the condition or grade of the coin. Let's break it down by different conditions. Circulated condition G4VF20. In circulated condition, where the coin shows wear from being used, the 1947 penny is worth between 3 to 10 cents. With so many produced, these coins don't hold much value in lower grades. Uncirculated condition MS60, MS65. In uncirculated pennies, which show no signs of wear, can be worth $2 to $5 for coins in lower mint state grades and $10 to $20 for higher mint state examples. If you're lucky enough to have a 1947 penny graded MS66 or higher, the value can jump significantly. For example, an MS66 can fetch anywhere from $40 to $100, while an MS67 could go for $200 or more. The highest recorded price for a 1947 penny was $2, $115 for a 1947 D penny in MS67 red condition. Another exciting aspect of coin collecting is finding error coins. These minting mistakes can make a 1947 penny far more valuable. Here are some key errors to look out for. Double die versus DDO. A double die error happens when the die strikes the coin more than once, causing doubling on the design. Check for doubling on Lincoln's face, the date, or lettering like Liberty and In God We Trust. A good double die penny can be worth anywhere from $50 to $150 or more. Off-center strike. Off-center strikes occur when the coin is struck off the center, leaving part of the design cut off. The more extreme the misalignment, the more valuable the coin. Off-center 1947 pennies can be worth $20 to $100 depending on the degree of the error. If you have a 1947D or 1947S penny, look closely at the mint mark for repunching, where the mint mark was struck more than once. Repunched mint marks can fetch anywhere from $10 to $100 depending on the clarity of the error. 1944 wheat penny. But today we're zooming in on one specific year, 1944. Why? Because the 1944 wheat penny is both common and, in some cases, incredibly valuable. Let's explore why. 1944 was a pivotal year during World War II. The U.S. Mint was busy, not only producing coins for circulation, but also adjusting to wartime restrictions. During 1943, pennies were made out of steel due to the copper shortage, which was needed for the war effort. However, in 1944, the mint returned to using copper well sort OF. The 1944 Lincoln wheat penny was made from 95% copper and 5% zinc, recycled primarily from spent shell casings from the war. Over 1.4 billion pennies were minted that year across 3 mints: Philadelphia no mint mark, Denver D mint mark, and San Francisco S mint mark. Most 1944 pennies you come across are very common, but there are rare variations in errors that make this penny extremely valuable. Let's talk about error coins. Some of the most valuable 1944 pennies have unusual errors, like being mistakenly minted on steel planchets left over from 1943. Only a few of these 1944 steel pennies are known to exist, making them some of the most valuable coins in U.S. history. One sold for over $373,000 at auction. Another error to look out for is the 1944 D over S mint mark, where a Denver penny has an underlying San Francisco mint mark. This variety can also be worth significantly more than a regular 1944 D penny. As with most coins, the condition or grade of your 1944 penny plays a huge role in determining its value. Pennies in circulated condition are usually worth around 3 to 10 cents each. But those in mint state or uncirculated condition can fetch up to $10 to $25 or more. If you're lucky enough to have a 1944 steel penny or one of the rare error coins in high grade, we're talking thousands to hundreds of thousands of dollars. So check your pennies carefully. So how do you know if you've got a valuable 1944 penny? Here are some tips. Look at the mint mark. Is it from Philadelphia no mint mark, Denver D, or San Francisco S? Check the weight. A normal 1944 penny weighs about 3.11 grams. If it's closer to 2.7 grams, you might have a rare steel penny. Inspect for errors. Check for double dies, repunched mint marks, or unusual plancha errors like the famous 1944 D over S. So what is your 1944 penny worth today? For most, as we mentioned, it's worth just a few cents in circulated condition, but here's a quick breakdown. Common 1944 pennies, 3 to 10 cents. The uncirculated mint state, $10 to $25. Rare error pennies like the 1944 steel penny up to $373,000. Whether you're a seasoned collector or just starting out, the 1944 Lincoln wheat penny is a fascinating piece of American history. Even if you don't have one of the rare error coins, holding a penny from this significant time period is like holding a little piece of the past. So check your pocket change and those old jars of coins. You never know what treasures you might find. 1936 wheat penny. The Lincoln wheat penny, often called the Wheatie, was minted from 1909 to 1958 and is an iconic piece of American coinage. But what makes the 1936 penny stand out? Well, let's start with its history. 1936 was an interesting year for the United States. The country was still recovering from the Great Depression, and Franklin D. Roosevelt was well into his presidency, implementing New Deal policies to help stabilize the economy. Coins from this period carry a lot of historical weight, as they were exchanged during a time of great financial struggle for many Americans. This penny features the familiar bust of Abraham Lincoln, designed by Victor David Brenner, on the obverse front side. On the reverse, you'll see the iconic wheat stalk symbolizing prosperity, which is why it's often referred to as the wheat penny. Mintage and varieties. No, the 1936 penny comes in 3 varieties based on where it was minted. No mint mark, Philadelphia mint. D mint mark, Denver mint. S mint mark, San Francisco mint. Philadelphia mint 309,632,000 minted. Denver mint 40,620,000 minted. San Francisco mint 29,130,000 minted. As you can see, the Philadelphia mint produced the most pennies that year, while Denver and San Francisco mints made fewer, making the D&S mint mark pennies more scarce. But rarity isn't the only thing that affects a coin's value. One of the most exciting aspects of the 1936 Lincoln wheat penny is the double die obverse DDO variety. This error happens during the minting process when the design is imprinted twice on the coin, resulting in a visible doubling effect on Lincoln's portrait and the date. Collectors love error coins, and this particular variety can command a premium price. Double die varieties from 1936 are highly sought after. Depending on the condition, a 1936 DDO penny can be worth anywhere from $50 to several $1,000s. Like any collectible coin, the condition of the 1936 Lincoln wheat penny plays a big role in its value. Coins are graded on a scale from poor P1 to mint state MS70, with higher grades obviously being worth more. For example, a 1936 penny in good condition might only be worth a few cents to $1, but a well-preserved, uncirculated example could sell for $10 or more. And of course, if you've got a double die variety, that value skyrockets. The 1945 wheat penny. 1945 was an important year for the United States. The country was emerging from the horrors of World War II, and the U.S. Mint was churning out coins as part of the nation's recovery efforts. The 1945 penny was an everyday part of people's lives, used to buy bread, milk, and other essentials in a world that was quickly changing. The design of the 1945 Lincoln wheat penny is the same classic design created by Victor David Brenner, with Lincoln's profile on the obverse. On the reverse side, you'll find the famous wheat stalks, symbolizing abundance and growth, a fitting symbol for the time. Now, the 1945 Lincoln wheat penny was minted in large quantities at 3 different mints. Philadelphia no mint mark. Denver D mint mark. San Francisco S mint mark. Philadelphia mint 1,040,515,000 minted. Denver mint 266,268,000 minted. San Francisco mint 181,770,000 minted. As you can see, over 1 billion pennies were produced in 1945 at the Philadelphia Mint alone, making it one of the most common wheat pennies. However, the Denver and San Francisco Mint pennies are slightly scarcer, particularly in higher grades, material composition, and metal shortages. One of the interesting things about the 1945 Lincoln wheat penny is its material composition. Like most pennies before and after, it was made of 95% copper and 5% tin and zinc. During World War II, however, copper was needed for the war effort, which is why 1943 pennies were made from steel. By 1945, the U.S. had returned to using copper for pennies. The return to copper signaled that America was beginning to recover from the material shortages of the war. So, holding a 1945 penny is like holding a small piece of history from that era. When it comes to coin collecting, the condition or grade of a coin is one of the most important factors that determine its value. Coins are graded on a scale from poor P1 to mint state MS70, with uncirculated coins being the most valuable. For example, a heavily circulated 1945 penny might only be worth its face value, while an uncirculated, well-preserved penny can fetch $5 to $10, sometimes more. The key is to look at the coin's luster, the sharpness of the details, and the amount of wear. So how much is a 1945 Lincoln wheat penny worth today? Let's break it down. A Philadelphia minted penny in average circulated condition is usually worth about 3 to 10 cents. In uncirculated condition, it can go for $1 to $5. A Denver minted 1945 penny in circulated condition is worth 5 to 15 cents, and uncirculated examples can reach $5 to $10 or more. The San Francisco minted 1945 penny, being slightly less common, might be valued at 10 to 20 cents in circulated condition and $5 to $15 in uncirculated condition. 1952 D wheat penny. The 1952 D Lincoln wheat penny was minted in Denver, identified by the small D mint mark below the year on the obverse. That year, Denver produced over 746 million Lincoln cents, making the 1952 D one of the more common wheat pennies in circulation. While it's not the rarest of the series, certain factors can still make it valuable to collectors. Like all coins, the value of a 1952 D wheat penny depends heavily on its condition. Coins are graded on a scale from poor P1 to mint state MS70. Let's break it down. Poor to good G4 heavyware, but date and mint mark are still readable. Value around 3 to 10 cents. Fine F12 moderate wear, but with clear details, value 10 to 20 cents. Very fine VF20 slight wear with all major elements sharp, value 20 to 50 cents. Extremely fine EF40 very light wear on the highest points, value 50 cents to $1. About uncirculated AU50, very minimal signs of wear. Value $1 to $2. Mint State, Mississippi, 60 to MS65, no wear with full mint luster. These can be worth anywhere from $3 to $30 or more, depending on eye appeal and strike quality. But wait, there's more. Some 1952D wheat pennies have errors that make them even more valuable. Look for double die errors. These are rare but can fetch a premium if found. Off-center strikes, depending on the extent of the error. These can be worth anywhere from $10 to $100. Repunched mint mark RPM. If the D appears to have been struck more than once, this variety could be worth $5 to $50 depending on the grade. So why should you add the 1952D Lincoln wheat penny to your collection? Not only does it represent a piece of American history from the early 1950s, but it's also relatively affordable for new collectors. Whether you're interested in common examples or hunting for rare air coins, the 1952D has something for everyone. Curious about the current market? While common 1952D pennies in circulated condition usually sell for a few cents, high-grade examples have been selling for $20 to $30 on average. Air coins or rare varieties could command much more depending on demand. Whether you're a seasoned collector or just starting out, the 1952D Lincoln wheat penny is a fun and affordable addition to your collection. Keep an eye out for high-grade coins or those rare errors. You never know what treasures you might find. 1937 wheat penny. The year 1937 was significant in U.S. history. It was the height of the Great Depression, and Franklin D. Roosevelt's New Deal programs were in full swing trying to revive the economy. The penny was used by many Americans as a necessity for daily transactions, but for collectors today, it's a treasure worth exploring. Now let's talk mint marks. In 1937, the Lincoln wheat penny was struck in 3 major locations. Philadelphia, no mint mark, the most common of the 1937 pennies. Denver, D mint mark, identified by the small d below the date. San Francisco, S mint mark. The S indicates the penny was minted in San Francisco and tends to be more sought after by collectors. The Philadelphia Mint produced a whopping 309 million pennies that year, while Denver minted just over 50 million, and San Francisco came in at just over 34 million. The design of the 1937 Lincoln wheat penny remains a classic. On the obverse, you'll see a bust of Abraham Lincoln, designed by sculptor Victor D. Brenner. Below Lincoln's portrait, you'll notice the date 1937 and potentially a mint mark, as we just mentioned. On the reverse, those iconic wheat stalks flank the words 1 cent along with United States of America. Above that, the phrase E pluribus unum, which means out of many one. This simple yet timeless design remained on pennies until 1958, when the wheat stalks were replaced by the Lincoln Memorial. As with any collectible coin, the value of your 1937 Lincoln wheat penny will largely depend on its condition. Pennies are graded on a scale from poor P1 to mint state MS70. Most pennies found in circulation today will fall between good G4 and very fine VF30. But if you're lucky enough to have one in uncirculated or mint state condition, you could be holding on to something much more valuable. A higher grade coin will have sharp details, no major wear, and a nice even tone to the metal. Now let's get to the question on everyone's mind: how much is a 1937 Lincoln wheat penny worth? Here's a quick breakdown. Low grade examples, good to very fine condition. These are quite common given the high mintage numbers and are typically worth between 10 cents and $1. Higher grades, extremely fine to about uncirculated. These pennies can be worth around $3 to $10. Uncirculated or mint state condition, here's where the real value comes in. These pennies can range from $25 to $50 and even higher if graded at MS65 or above. Some rare cases have sold for over $100 at auction. For pennies minted in San Francisco with an S mint mark, the value can be slightly higher due to their lower mintage. 1951 wheat penny. Now, the 1951 Lincoln penny has a few interesting things to note regarding its mintage and value. It was produced in 2 primary varieties, the 51 Philadelphia Mint, which has no mint mark, and the 51D from the Denver Mint, marked with a D. The Philadelphia Mint produced over 120 million 1951 pennies, while the Denver Mint produced just under 24 million. This difference in mintage contributes to their value today. When it comes to determining the value of your 1951 Lincoln wheat penny, the condition is crucial. Coins are graded on a scale from 1 to 70, with higher numbers indicating better quality. Here are the key grades to consider. Good G, these coins show heavy wear, but are still recognizable. Value around 2 cents. Fine F, moderate wear with some details visible. Value about 10 to 15 cents. Very fine VF, light wear with most details still clear. Value 25 to 50 cents. Uncirculated MS60, no wear, and they look as good as they did the day they were minted. Value $1 to $5 depending on the market. The market value of the 1951 Lincoln penny can fluctuate based on factors such as collector demand and overall market trends. In 2023, prices range from just a few cents for heavily worn coins to upwards of $5 for high-grade, uncirculated examples. If you're interested in collecting these coins, here are some tips. Check your change. You never know what you might find in your pocket or coin jar. Visit local coin shops or shows. Talking to collectors can provide valuable insights. Join online communities. Forums and social media groups can be great places to learn more and share your finds. 1920 wheat penny. Minting locations. The 1920 penny was minted in two locations, Philadelphia and San Francisco. The Philadelphia Mint produced over 192 million coins, while the San Francisco Mint produced around 2 million. Design changes. The design remained the same as the previous years, but the 1920 coin saw variations in its quality and finishing due to changes in the minting process during the 1920s. When it comes to value, the 1920 Lincoln wheat penny can vary significantly depending on its condition. Good condition G, a penny in good condition typically sells for about $0.10 to $0.25. Fine condition F, in fine condition, you can expect to pay around $0.50 to $1. Very fine condition VF coins in very fine condition are worth about $2 to $5. Uncirculated condition MS uncirculated coins can fetch anywhere from $10 to $100 depending on the mint mark and specific attributes. Additionally, there are some rarer varieties and errors like the 1920S over mint mark, which can be worth significantly more, sometimes thousands of dollars. If you're looking to add a 1920 Lincoln wheat penny to your collection, here are a few tips. Condition is key. Always check the coin's condition. Grading is essential in determining value. Look for mint marks. Make sure to check for mint marks, which are located on the reverse under the 1-cent inscription. Buy from reputable sources. Always purchase coins from trusted dealers or auctions to ensure authenticity. The year 1920 was significant in American history. It was a time of change marked by the end of World War I and the beginning of the Roaring '20s, a decade characterized by economic prosperity, cultural change, and technological advancement. The 1920 Lincoln wheat penny, a reflection of its time, carries a piece of that history with it.